year ago. Isn't that crazy? So I'm gonna read Joseph's bio real quick, and then Kate's gonna jump in. So Joseph Lazukin. Am I saying that wrong, by the way? How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Lazukin.
Lazukin. Okay, I never heard your last name. So Joseph Lazukin, multi-exit founder, self-taught programmer, crypto advisor, founder of Dash League, one of the first blockchain-based NFT MMORPGs. So we were very excited. We've been talking about NFT gaming, so we figured let's get Joseph on this. So Kate, over to you.
Yes, everyone, let's open our mic and welcome Joseph the big way, you guys.
Woo!
Joseph, can you tell us what was your journey like to get where you are?
In general business or just in crypto?
Yeah, just in business and crypto. I'd like to hear your journey.
Oh, geez. Business was a little bit more complicated. I had an early success when I was 17. I started a business right out the gate, and I did it out of necessity because my family kind of came from a lower beginning. So some nights my mom or my brother wouldn't eat, so that way one of us could. And I started learning how to program to do people's MySpace profiles for like 25, 50 bucks a pop. And that got me into HTML and CSS. And then from there, I started doing websites for people. And that turned into starting an agency, then also having it to where I ended up building a company hosting events. I'm not really sure how that kind of spun out of programming, but did that for a little bit. And then, that kind of just spiraled into a bunch of other different tech companies launches. I started going international. I launched a company in Norway that I ended up exiting, that allowed for you to be able to do like Facebook apps without any programming knowledge. Then I ended up doing one of the first Facebook Live softwares that allowed for you to go live to all your Facebook groups, pages, your LinkedIn, everything all at the same time, your SMS list, your email list. Like it just broadcasted the link everywhere if it didn't support live natively. And we ended up selling that company as well. And then started a couple of e-commerce brands. And then from there, started to be able to get into just a bunch of other different businesses, and currently have 6 businesses at the moment, including one of the NFT projects, and then currently an advisor to a bunch of different funds, one of them which manages over $300 million in crypto assets.
What an impressive for a young person like yourself. I mean, one thing I've noted about you is you're such system driven. Like anything, I remember you putting together like, hey, let's put this together, and it's so detailed. And I think that's one of your talent. But tell us about Dash League. How did you ended up or deciding creating your company?
Yeah, so Dash League was kind of it was actually supposed to be just a test. I was just trying to be able to test something that was actually on the blockchain because I was curious. I was like, okay, I've been programming for a long enough period of time. Might as well launch something. And then it ended up doing 300 grand in like the first 3 days. And I was like, oh shit. So then I was like, all right, put together the whole team and everything else like that. And I ended up having it to where we ended up hiring 12 people, put together this entire amazing team of programmers, artists, sound engineers and everything. And we actually ended up launching the alpha a couple of days ago. And we've been kind of silent minting. We haven't been having it to where we've been like publicly kind of telling people about us just yet. And we want to be able to get it out to beta where the full project is done. But that's kind of how the whole project kind of came apart, is that we were literally just looking to do an experiment on just NFTs and how far we could push NFTs. So what's unique about the NFTs that we created is the actual characters are the actual NFTs. And based on the gameplay, the equipment that you wear, the stats that you end up leveling up in the game, and your pets that you end up adding, and all these other different things, it actually live updates the actual NFTs that are on OpenSea. And one of the other things that we also did, which was really cool, is that we had it to where we created the first NFT swap that allows for you to be able to have it to where the NFTs can actually be on any chain. It doesn't matter if it's Ethereum, doesn't matter if it's Solana, it doesn't matter if it's any of them. What we found is that we created a new structure that basically had a single universal ledger that allowed for us to be able to deploy contracts to every single blockchain and allow for us to be able to keep track without there being duplicates in the network. So that was kind of the experiment that Dash League kind of became. And now it's turned into a full-fledged game studio. And it's really, really fun. Our beta is supposed to be on January 15th, and we're pretty much already on track to be able to beat it. Plus, we pushed the letter when it comes to programmatic generation. So it's going to be unlimited gameplay. So it's going to be open world, unlimited gameplay for anybody who plays.
Wow. What 300K for the first 3 days. Is that correct?
Yeah, it it definitely grew a little bit unexpectedly, considering all I did was post on my Facebook. We ended up creating a Twitter page, and a couple of my good friends ended up running some Twitter like social like engagement where they would comment on some of the other like crypto profiles and stuff like that. And I guess they got retweeted a couple of times. We got to like 16,000 followers. Like just before the launch, and we ended up just smashing out of the box with zero ad spend or anything else like that, and it was just completely unexpected, to be honest.
Wow. Now, just are you planning to get acquired, or what's the exit plan for Dashly? I know you're the king of exiting businesses, so I'm curious.
Yeah, so as far as the actual exit plan for Dash League, the reason why Dash League is in the category that it is and why I ended up deciding to go with this type of gameplay is when you look at the broader marketplace on terms of iPhone and Android apps. I did some market research before I was like, okay, what kind of game can we actually build in the blockchain? How crazy can we be able to make this, right? And what I ended up finding is that when you looked at any kind of game that gave players agency over the actual creation of assets, so for instance, if we're talking about building your own dungeon like Minecraft, or if you have it where you can be able to build like your own little house in the game or anything else like that, what I found is that across the board, all of these games were vastly outperforming the market in terms of how much revenue they were bringing in terms of how long players were actually in the game playing. And what we found is that overall, in terms of exits as well, these companies were faring far, far better. So you got Roblox, you have Minecraft. These are two really popular titles that everybody knows the name of. But the thing is that if you actually go on the marketplace right now for the iPhone, you cannot find a game that allows for players to be able to build dungeons or worlds and let other people actually go play their game. And I was like, all right, well, if I launch it on the blockchain, well, I could be able to have it where we can get in a bunch of seed capital. And then from there, we can have it where we launch it on iPhone and Android and actually make this an actual real game that you can be able to play anywhere on the go and actually earn money while doing it. So we built out this entire world, or this entire ecosystem, I guess you could say, where players are able to actually, once they conquer a dungeon that's been procedurally generated by our AI, once they claim it, they can actually build their own dungeon, monsters, terrain, everything else like that. And they earn money when people actually play their dungeons now. So that's the whole concept behind Dash League. And that was what we ended up basically creating towards. So right now, as far as an exit, there really isn't one. We're just kind of building to be able to have it as a cash cow. It's going to be a really high revenue business because if you look at how much money you see games like, again, you could be able to take Minecraft, how much they end up making on like the additional like add-ons. Or if you end up taking, what's the other game that everybody plays?
Axie? What's the difference? Are you kind of similar to Axie, or is so different?
It's a little bit different in terms of Axie is, so it has the same kind of concepts where inside of Dash League, we have breeding, we have the scholarship program. So like if you have the NFTs and you don't want to play the game, you can be able to loan it out. Axie is more, it's completely different in terms of actual game style. So ours is an MMORPG. So like you're literally playing aside thousands of other people at the exact same time. It's real-time battles. It's not having it where it's turn-based or anything else like that. And it's a full-fledged title. It's not just something that's more, I guess, boiled down, I guess you could say, and a little bit simpler. I think Axie is a little bit on the simpler side.
Okay, awesome. Now, hearing the news, being Nike getting involved with Roblox and Gucci creating their Gucci garden on Roblox, what are some of your strategies into that angle?
Yeah. So what's really, really fascinating is that we ended up going the 2D direction. The reason why we ended up doing it is because it's far cheaper than 3D. And we're able to be able to push out content a lot faster. So some of the promotions that we actually have that are going to be coming out this and next week and actually in pretty much into the new year is we have it to where people can actually be able to drop their NFTs inside the game. So they send it to the treasury. And then as you kill monsters and stuff, there's a percentage where that actual NFT can be able to drop inside the game. We actually have partnerships where we partner with other NFT collections, other token creators, and major networks to be able to have it to where as you're actually playing the game, not only do you get DLC, which is the Dash League token, but you can also be able to get drops of other people's tokens. And we've created custom dungeons for these other brands. So you're actually able to go in to be able to go experience their ecosystem. And it's really unique. I think we're basically kind of like a different metaverse, but in the 2D old retro feel.
And now, when talking about community, how many do you have in your Discord? Do you build your community to Discord or somewhere else? What platform do you use?
Yeah, so right now I think the Discord we have like 2 or 3,000 people. We didn't go for the whole like build a whole botnet and try to be able to fake our numbers or anything else like that, which you see a lot of these different collections do. That's probably one of the worst things that you can probably be able to do, to be honest. And yeah, we have about 3,000 people that are real, actual people, real accounts, everything like that. And that's without us doing any marketing. So all the marketing is now basically going to be rolling out once we end up getting the beta live, which is going to be January 15th. And right now in the alpha, we have about 3,000 just from people hearing about us. And I'm going to be doing an AMA in the Kongs group coming up here soon as well.
Wonderful. Now, did you raise money to build this, or is that all your money? Tell me.
No, not at all. So again, like I said, we ended up building out this collection. We ended up launching it, and the money that's come from it, the $300,000, literally has been able to bankroll most of this. And what I did is that when you look at most projects, they take in the money and then they immediately apply the actual base capital towards the actual project. And what I did instead is that I ended up using my knowledge in DeFi because I've been advising on multiple different projects, and I actually put it into DeFi where actually the entire salary for all 12 people that are getting paid anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 a year, depending on their position and seniority, are all paid literally in the DeFi gains. So I actually haven't even touched the base capital that's come in from the project. And on top of it, I've also tripled it. So the thing is that I've been able to pay for 12 people's full-time 40-hour work weeks over multiple months completely for free just off of DeFi.
Wow. Now, what did you learn as far as creating Dash League? What are some of the heavy learnings, some mistakes along the way? I know you're still building. You're not even having lunch yet, but what shocked you the most?
So what we ended up finding out is that Solidity is a lot more temperamental than I guess you could say any of the other languages are. So if you were to be able to kind of look between JavaScript or if you were to look between C, it's somewhere in between, and there's a lot of weird oddities, and there's not always the best testing. So what we found is that something that we would think would be, oh, that's so super simple to be able to do. There might be this giant gap in Solidity that would make it just a giant pain, because we're not just building an NFT collection, we're building an interactive MMORPG on the blockchain, which ended up creating a whole slew of different problems. But overall, it's been a really unique experience. But I would say that Solidity and the, I guess, documentation and the community where you can be able to find help from credible people who are also pushing the letter on what you can be able to do on the blockchain. I think finding those communities was probably one of the hardest things to be able to do.
Oh, Dan, do you have any question at all? Like, it's like, man, there's some lingo there
Yeah.
that like it's so foreign for me.
Yeah, no, I have so many questions, but I think that's incredible. We heard this before from some other people where you take the money from like an NFT drop or something that you do, and then you use that to pay for the game, which I think is incredible. But not only that, you've created an economy within itself. There are some people that might not really understand, like, how does that even work? How do you create, because I think a lot of people are so used to dollars or maybe Bitcoin or Ethereum. They don't really understand the concept of the game has a token, and that game within itself has a token that actually has real value of money that somebody could get paid for. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways that you can be able to launch a token if we're just specifically launching about the tokenomics side. One of them is that you can be able to have it where you obviously do a token sale and then you end up using the people who have actually invested into the token to exchange some other version of a token, let's say a Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever it be, as backing for your actual token price. And then from there, obviously the amount of coins that you have versus the actual backing is what actually gives it value. Another way that you can be able to do it is through bonds. For people that are familiar with the DeFi space, now you have DAOs, which are kind of like the V2, and I guess there's a now V3 version of DeFi kind of coming out, if for those of you that are following DAOs. So yeah, that's basically what I would say is probably the way that the coin has value. So basically you're just exchanging another coin's value and keeping that as backing for the amount of coins that you mint against that backing. So if you have $100,000 and you end up creating 100,000 coins, that coin's initial backing is $1. And that liquidity pool that you create. So if people that are kind of new to crypto, if you were to be able to think about it like the US dollar or the euro, if you want to be able to transact between the US and the euro, you're going to be able to have an institution of some kind that has liquidity on both, that can be able to exchange your dollars on one side for your euros on the other. And basically, that's kind of what you're creating when you create your own token. So you initially create that backing, and then you create a liquidity pool that allows for people to change in between the two. And by doing that, you basically have the foundation of your own token.
That's incredible. Thank you. So now I never actually understood that. And I've been waiting for someone to explain it to me. So I figured there was other people that also had to understand that moment. So you can actually choose how many tokens you want based on the money, which then dictates. So for example, if you wanted 200,000, if you could price at 50 cents because your initial was 100,000, is that correct? You can dictate that number in the beginning.
You can dictate the amount of tokens that you end up minting against the price, but the thing is that if you end up doing it unrealistically, there's arbitrators that'll literally come in, people that'll actually just arbitrate the liquidity pool and bring it back down to size, and they'll take most of the money out of the actual value of the token. So that's why you have to be able to make sure that you actually are reasonable in terms of the backing versus the actual relation to the amount of tokens. And then also making sure that there's actual real utility behind it. Otherwise, you'll see this giant pump, which you see so many of these different, I guess you could say in the industry, we call them shit coins. They have it to where they end up pumping and then they end up absolutely crashing because there's no utility, there's no true backing or anything else like that. So you just want to be able to make sure that you have those kind of things set up ahead of time.
Yeah, that's actually my question is a lot of people, I'm not going to mention the kind of game, but they're complaining because they're not getting paid. How do, like it's getting harder. Like it was easy in the beginning, then it's becoming competitive. How do you do the check and balances, make sure you won't be running out of token?
Yeah, so what's really interesting is that we have a lot of interesting tokenomics when it comes to Dash League. So one of the things is that like any item that you buy in the game can technically become an NFT. And in order to be able to actually turn that item into an NFT, you have to be able to pay a fee in our token to be able to mint it to the main network. And as a result, that allows for us to be able to then burn some of the actual tokens, which means that there's less tokens now. So the backing's still there. And as more and more people actually buy into Dash League, the thing is we're burning actual tokens, but the concrete value is still there. So the beautiful part about that is that the actual price of the Dash League token is going to continuously rise because in every single game metric, whether you're raiding a dungeon, you pay the fee to raid the dungeon, or whether you're having it where you're selling an item or buying an item from the marketplace, which is actually a treasury. So you can sell your items, your NFTs back to the actual treasury to get DLC tokens out. We're burning 10% every single time. So those general transactions are allowing for us to be able to actually raise the value of the tokens that are actually in supply. So basically, to think about it like this, if you have $100,000 in backing and you have 100,000 tokens, and then somebody ends up making a trade, let's say for 50,000 inside a Dash League, we burn 5,000 of those tokens. So as a result, now there's only 95,000 tokens to $100,000 in backing. And then as more and more people want to get into Dash League, well, there's only 95,000 tokens to be able to buy. So the thing is, then the price actually ends up going up because now the reserve has increased. So that's basically what ends up happening with the tokenomics of Dash League, if it's kind of breaking down in a really simple way. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but I think for beginners that are on here, I think that's probably the more friendly explanation.
I love the term tokenomics. Thank you for that. That's incredible. So where do you, I love that. And you said too, you're going to allow people to drop NFTs in the future and you're creating this community. Where do you see this game going in terms of like, how many players do you need where it becomes a thing that's really big? I don't know how this stuff is really dictated. You know, like Axie Infinity, I feel like is really big because I've seen it across multiple countries and it just seems like people were talking about it, you know, from the beginning. But when does a game hit something where it's like, wow, we have something really, really big on our hands?
Yeah, so what's really amazing about Dash League and some of the work that our team has been doing behind the scenes, the guys that we have working on the project are amazing. And I owe really all the credit to them. But we actually have, we just finished a meeting 2 days ago to be able to have one of the larger influencer agencies be able to have every single one of their influencers be able to promote Dash League. So over 600 people that have over 1 million followers are going to actually promote Dash League during the main sale. And then on top of it, one of the other things that is really kind of amazing is that we're going to be launching this to the iPhone and Android market, and it's still going to be on the blockchain. We're still going to be able to have it where people are going to be able to make money while it's on mobile. So we're going to get exposure to the Android and iPhone marketplace. Plus, I mean, I'm co-founder or co-owner of Addicted to Success, which has a massive email list that we haven't even tapped into. And I have all these other email lists from my other companies that we haven't even done anything with in regards to this. So I think in regards to Dash League and where we kind of see it going, especially with some of the partnerships with influencers, some of the reviews that we have going on, I think it's going to hit critical mass really, really quickly. And one of the other great things that happened about 2 weeks ago is that we actually qualified for a $1.5 million grant because of the complexity of what we actually built for Dash League, including like the multi-contract basically way to be able to swap the NFTs between all of the different networks. And we got a $1.5 million grant contingent on once we end up hitting 30,000 CCUs, so concurrent users actually playing the game.
Man, that is huge. Well, future congratulations once you hit that mark. I know you will. I mean, like you said, you've already built a community addicted to success. I know you have. You know, you've been in the influencer world and using that and utilizing for multiple businesses. So congratulations on that soon. That's going to be huge. So
if I chime in real quick?
Yeah, sure. Who was that? Yeah.
Interruption. It's VGF. Yo, Joey. It's CJ.
I know. I can hear you by the voice, brother. What's up?
I had actually joined the room because I saw JT and Gary and some friends hanging out, and that was before I realized the room was for you. But no, I just wanted to say hi, wish you well. Definitely kind of been following the drop. I got to go manage the fucking Adidas drop, so I got to run. But if I don't catch you before Christmas, happy holidays. I love you, brother.
Yeah, I love you too, bro.
Let's catch up soon.
Hey, absolutely. I just actually moved into a new house, so feel free to come by. We're going to have a housewarming.
Awesome.
All right. See you, buddy.
Sorry for the interruption.
See you, buddy.
Hey, no, I appreciate that. I was actually looking at that Adidas drop. So thank you for that.
Hey, Dan, can we do the where can they find like site and stuff for our live audience before we can head out to Q&A? Yeah,
sure, of course. Joseph, so where can they find you? How can they play this game? How can they get involved?
Yeah, the website right now is Dash League, DashLeague.io. So if they go to dashleague.io, and if you end up minting some characters and then going into the Discord community, the alpha link where you guys can actually go play the alpha and go smash a bunch of pumpkins that we ended up setting up for this test dungeon. So we created all these pumpkin-based monsters for Halloween in order to be able to let our initial adopters be able to actually experience the game mechanics. So you have pets, you have the ability to do summons, you have the ability to be able to trade, to kill other players, to do pretty much anything that you can ever imagine doing in an MMORPG. So that's already all set up. So you can go there and be able to actually go experience it right now at dashleague.io.
Okay, so go to dashleague.io and take advantage of that. One last question before we open it up. What if I'm somebody who doesn't really care about playing games, but I see this as a really great investment opportunity? Or, hey, maybe I have kids and maybe they can play the game
Dan,
for me?
you know, I get in trouble for using investment opportunity. They don't like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Just kidding. Just kidding. Not an investment opportunity.
Entrepreneurs don't use the investment community because you go ahead. I get yelled at the last
I meant,
time.
that's why I said, let's say I have kids who want to play the game. And I see this as a good opportunity for them to level up. But I personally don't want to play a game, but I do want to get involved with this NFT gaming. How can I get involved, or is there something that I can do? And look, I know that we're not giving financial advice here. We're not giving any legal advice here. You know, you have to do your due diligence before you do anything that involves money. And we're not giving any investment advice here. But I'd love to hear your thoughts here for people that don't play games, they don't really want to play games, but they see this as maybe something that they can get involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the actual things in Dash League, and we're actually releasing our white paper at the end of this like silent pre-sale. I guess it's not so silent anymore, obviously, since I'm kind of doing this. This is the first time that I've actually talked about the project publicly. And then I'm going to be speaking in Vegas on the 6th of January for NFT Vegas. But basically inside of Dash League, they have a scholarship program that's very similar to Axie Infinity. We made it a lot simpler and a lot cleaner for anybody to understand how to actually lend out your characters without any kind of security issues. All you do is you just whitelist a wallet, and then that Dash League character will actually show up in their list of selectable characters when they go to log in the game. And then there's actually a simple toggle bar that you can actually be able to toggle between 30 to 70% revenue split with the person who's actually playing the game. So you can give them 70 and you take 30, or you can be able to have it where you take 70 and they take 30. There's a lot of people who've made an incredible amount of money on Axie Infinity. And we also didn't want to be able to just price lock people that are in second and third world countries from being able to actually play the game, because it does cost 0.1 ETH to be able to mint a character that's in the Gen 0. So we want to be able to make it to where anybody around the world could be able to play it. And I mean, there's people that have Axie Infinity teams that are 3,000-4,000 people are all around the world just playing their NFTs that they have, and having it to where they then breed those characters to be able to create more and more teams. So we adopted that same kind of methodology inside of Dash League. And I'm going to be really honestly excited once people start actually doing that, because it's going to be able to help a lot of people. And the tokenomics that we've done are going to be able to generate a pretty great income. So I can't speak to the actual price amount, but once we end up releasing the white paper, I think everybody's going to go, holy crap, because I think it's going to pay better than pretty much every other NFT game that's out there right now.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I'm not telling anyone to buy something, but I did just go to Dash League and I did just mint. I mean, it's 0.1 ETH. It seemed like a pretty good deal for me. But I'm not telling anyone to do that. So you have to do your own due diligence. But if you want to check it out, you can go to dashleague.io. Thank you, Joseph. We can open it up. And I did just see there was a league. There was 1,000 people in the Philippines. I was blown away. I couldn't believe that somebody has a league that size. That's, I mean, how many economies could be changed by this? It's pretty wild.
Okay, so I actually posted on my Facebook, my Filipino account, and I said, hey, who's the gamer here? Because I want to build a team. I have to say I have 300 people. Response to me is like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. I guess the whole country are playing. There you go. What I think that's probably a good market for you to promote it as well.
Yeah, I think there was some statistic like over half of all the actual MetaMask wallets have actually played some version of a blockchain game at this point. So that's actually really exciting. And obviously it's still brand new. I mean, you literally have a huge market that hasn't even got into NFTs. Shopify just ended up launching their NFT beta. So they now can be able to do transactions in NFTs through Shopify, which is insane. And then you also have, I mean, the big thing, which is kind of the major thing that everybody is looking forward to, which is Coinbase being able to launch their NFT marketplace, which is going to dwarf the size of OpenSea. So you have these major players coming into the game. And a lot of people don't realize that blockchain is really small in terms of total market cap. So when you have a player like Shopify come into the space and allow for people to start doing NFTs and exposing everybody to the market in mass, you're talking about billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars, entering into the crypto space for the very first time. So everybody's like, oh, we're at the top, we're at the top, we're at the top. We're nowhere near the top. We literally have this massive expanse that's about to be able to happen. I honestly think that the next major bull run is honestly going to be on NFTs.
All right. Well, Joseph, thank you for that. I didn't know about Shopify, and I'd seen Coinbase. So the future is bright, and it's just getting started, it seems. So we'd love to hear if anyone has a question for Joseph. Anyone have a question?
Gary has a
Gary,
question.
yeah, go for it, Gary. Welcome.
Thanks, everybody. Hey, Joseph, this is really cool. I jumped the gun. I purchased, I just minted one. Part of me is wondering what are the benefits of the legendary or the rare. But before I get to that question, you just mentioned Shopify, and the CEO of Shopify, founder of Shopify, his name is Toby. And like 5 or 6 days before Shopify made that announcement about their NFT marketplace, Toby purchased his Web3 username, which is an ENS name. It's a .eth name. Mine is Gary Palmer Jr. .eth. And my question for you is, if you know about the protocol, do you expect that this game is going to integrate the ENS protocol so that when someone logs in, their Web3 username is automatically going to display in this game?
No, we currently have it where when you end up connecting your MetaMask, your actual individual players, like the actual NFTs that you actually buy, you can individually name them, and that's what's actually going to end up showing up in actual Dash League. So, and also just to the point, if anybody's minting one, just remember we're releasing breeding, so you probably want to get at least 2.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that makes me a little sad because I love ENS names, and so I understand that each character has their own, and I would just ask you to think about using a subdomain, like getting your own ENS name for the game, and then using subdomains for the naming of the characters, right? So it's based on that protocol. But so with that being said, what's the benefits of I'm a big fan of the ENS protocol. What are the benefits of the rares and the legendaries? Like how much more powerful are they, or do they have special abilities?
Yeah, so when it comes to the actual rarities, so the rank of the different NFT characters, the higher you end up going all the way up to godly, there's actually a stat multiplier, and there's also a drop multiplier. So the thing is that if you have a common, right, and you were traditionally supposed to get, let's say 100, let's say DLC tokens once you end up beating a dungeon or something else like that, based on the actual NFT rank of the character, let's say that it's uncommon, right? There's going to be a small stat multiplier. Instead of getting 100, you're going to get 105. If you're godly, you're going to end up probably getting closer to 150 instead. So there's a huge advantage to being able to actually have it where you have the rare characters on top of the actual stats in the game. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to be able to rank up your character. It's a lot easier to be able to claim more dungeons because your stats will be higher based on the actual rank of the character. And the best part about it is I want to make sure that it was level. So we have it where the uncommon characters, the common characters, the ones that are at the very, very bottom, you can actually level up your character's rank by reincarnating them once you end up hitting level 100. So every single time that you hit level 100, you can rank up your characters higher and higher and higher. And there's a lot of opportunity to be able to basically take your once worthless NFT to be able to actually have it to where it can be sold for multiples of what you got it for.
Very cool. Thank you very much. This looks promising. Congratulations.
All right. Sorry, we're just going to end the live real quick. So before we end the live, if somebody wants to check out more -league.io, we're going to end the live. And now we're going to